Hi guys, in this video we'll be looking at Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran, and it sounds like this. So hello and welcome to this guitar lesson. In this video we'll be covering Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud. My name's Thomas and we're going to be looking at the verse, the chorus, the pre-chorus and the solo. So before we kick off, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to see a further write-up of this piece including the chords and the rhythms, click the link below this video to take you to our website. So let's start with the verse, because this makes up most of the song in the track, and this is where you'll be playing and spending most of your time when you're playing this song. So we're going to be doing a bit of finger picking here, but don't worry, it's nothing too scary, just plucking at the same time with these fingers, okay? So the first chord we've got is a D, but rather than your full open D major, which you probably know, your cage shape, we're going to take the E string out of it, and we're just going to use the D, G and B string, okay? So that's first finger on the second fret of the G string and second finger on the third fret of the B string. And we're going to pluck with our thumb on the D string. I'm wearing a thumb pick, but it's only because I like it, you don't have to. Thumb on the D string, first finger on the G string and second finger on the B string, and we're going to just pluck like that. The reason we do this is to avoid any pick sounds, and we want to get all the notes to be absolutely synchronized rather than with a pick, which is one note very quickly one after another in that motion. And we want to avoid the strings that aren't being used here. So we're also going to do a little hammer on at the start of this. So I'm going to go with my first finger from the open G string to the second fret there, okay? So that's going to be at the start of the song, followed by a slap. So the slap is going to punctuate every chord in this section of the song. So we've got D, hammer on, slap. To our next chord, which is also a D, I'm going to do a Jimi Hendrix thing here, which is the thumb over the top to hit the second fret of the E string and keep my first finger on the second fret of the G string. An alternative would be, if you're not a fan of that, is use your second finger on the second fret of the E string and your third finger on the second fret of the G string. So we've got D, hammer on, slap to our new D chord. Now this is the D major, although it looks a bit funny, this is what we call an inversion. So what that means is you've taken the notes of the chords, in this case D, F sharp and A, and you've changed the order of them. You haven't altered what the chord sounds like, just the order of the notes and kind of your interpretation of that sound. So inversions of D, that's all the exact same chord, only 3 notes, but they do sound quite different. That's just an example of what you can do. If you know any more about that, then please feel free to try and invert some of the chords in this song and see what you can come up with. So that was our second chord, 2 Ds basically. And then onto our third chord, which is a G. And the way I'm doing that here is second fret on the E string, second finger on the third fret of the E string, open D string and open G string. And again, always just pluck in those 3 fingers with 3 strings with these 3 fingers. That's our G, slap again, followed by an A chord, well an A5. So the A5 means there's no third in this, it's just A, then the 5th, which is E, and then A again. So the way I'm doing that here is I'm using a bar. Now I can already hear the groans out there. A lot of us don't like the bar chords, but you'll find that once you get used to them, it's just easier to do that. It requires less fingers and less work. But if you don't like the bar, you can use your first and your second fingers just on the second frets of the D and the G string. If you do like the bar, then just that one first finger across both those frets. And again, plucking with these three on the A, the D and the G string. And just at the end of this, slap again with a little flick this time, a hammer on. So that is pinky hammering on to the 4th fret of the B string. Sorry, the 4th fret of the G string. So all in total, sounds like this. And your slap comes after the little hammer on there. So these are the licks that has been put into the guitar track to keep it interesting. A lot of this kind of pop music, as you may have heard me say before, is like basically 4-bar loops that just keep going around. So he's put this in here to kind of break it up and give it a bit of character. But if you watch him live do it, he's not always going to do that exact lick. This is just something that made it into the track. So if you know your pentatonics, again, it's like a Jimi Hendrix thing, just a little lick in the chord. If you know your pentatonics and you're happy with that, experiment with it and see what else you can put into it that works within the key of D major. So anyway, that comprises the verse and pretty much all the chorus, although there's one bit in the chorus that we'll come to. What we're now going to look at is the pre-chorus. So the first chord here is an E minor, and this time I'm going to pick with all 5 fingers, just starting with the thumb on the low E string and ending with the pinky on the B string, and just filling in the rest of the strings in order that your fingers will come like that. And it's just plucking all 5, so just this kind of motion. Now if you're new to this, try to avoid like a big heavy slappy sound. You just want a little, just kind of a little claw motion, and that's enough to generate the sound. So first chord's E minor, and again we've got that slap in between. It's the same rhythm, to an A major, to a D major. So that sounds like. Nice and simple, just your standard open chords. Good old Cage system. Okay, and again, this next 2-bar loop will be E minor and A major. Same rhythm, A major. Okay, on to our next 2 bars, which will be E minor, A major, and B minor this time. A major, and then B minor. So the way I'm doing that with the B minor is going to be an open A minor, shifted up 2 frets, and a bar. Again, sorry guys who hate the bars. So. And you can pick kind of all 5 strings if you want. You can pick 4. As long as you get all those notes ringing out nice and cleanly, the quality of the chord's not going to change if you miss out one of the top strings. You can hear it's the exact same chord. So that takes us through the 3rd and 2nd last of the loops of this pre-chorus. That's a little bit confusing. So up until this point it's E minor from the start, A major, then D, then back to E minor, to A major, back to E minor, to A major, to B minor. Okay, and then E minor again, to A major. And we've got 8th notes on that A major to give it more power and energy going into the chorus. So that's just, you can pluck with all 5 fingers, or you can strum with your thumb or any part of your hand. Just make sure it's in rhythm and nice controlled sound, and that the dynamics don't jump up now that you're strumming if you choose to do so. Okay, so then we're into the chorus, and like I said before, this is pretty much the same as the verse. The only difference being we've got a tag on the end of it where the title lyrics come from, Thinking Out Loud, Baby We Found Love, Right Where We Are. So that's going to be B minor, A major, G major, and again I'm doing that one just with a second finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, and then open D, open G, open B string. Then this D major inversion again, so F sharp, you can do it like this or that, whichever you like. E minor, okay, so B minor, A major, whichever you like, bar or 3rd fingers, G major, D major inversion, E minor, A major, D major. That's quite a mouthful, so slowly, see if you can play along. And at tempo, it sounds like this. So a little jump there to that last D chord, and then it just goes back into the verse. So that is quite a tricky sequence of chords. Just all that is, sounds great. It's just going down the scale of D major and the chords that appear there. Sounds really nice, especially with the melody he's singing over it. So spend a bit of time on that, trying to get the speed, and remember it's all about clean sounds. Get that clean, quick, fluid motion. Start it off slow if you can't get it and work it up. So that's pretty much the song. The only thing that's left is the solos. This is where all the Steve Vais get to have their fun. It's quite an interesting solo. It's pretty laid back, it's pretty subdued. You can tell he's trying to bring this guitar solo back to pop music. And it's mostly in this area of the neck. So really from the 7th fret to the 12th fret. And again, good old pentatonic shape comes into play. So we're going to start off, it comes after the 2nd chorus, and it starts off like this. So those are all hammer-ons. So 1st finger on the 7th fret of the A string, hammer on with your 3rd finger to the 9th fret, and then onto the D string, 7th fret, 1st finger, hammer onto the 9th fret, 3rd finger, and then up to the G string, 7th fret. So if you're not used to that, practice again, getting fluid motions. Rhythm is absolutely key here. Start it slow, it's got to be equal 8th notes, and speed it up. So then the next bit. So once we've got, we have to do a bend whilst holding another note in our pinky, so it's like a country bend. So pinky is then going to go to the 10th fret of the B string, and then with our 3rd finger, and I would advise putting your 2nd finger behind it as well to give it the strength, you're going to bend the 9th fret up to the 11th. So from there to there. It's quite hard to do that. It's going to take a bit of practice to not bend this note on your pinky out and to get the full bend on there. But give it some time. It's really, again, it's quite country. It's a bit strange as it's in this song, but it sounds really cool. So it's a bend up, hitting both the G and the B string. Bend back down, again, both the G and the B string. And then 1st finger, hammer on to the, 1st finger on the 7th fret, sorry, hammer on to the 9th fret. And then pluck the 7th fret again. So that first section, not so easy, even for an Ed Sheeran song. You'd think a song that's in pop would have a bit more easy solos, but actually quite tricky that. You can hear I actually bent that B string note up. So following that is this little double stop thing. So this is going to be 1st finger over the G, over the D and the B string, 7th fret. Let me start again. On the D and G string, 7th fret, first finger playing both of those. You're going to pluck both of those strings, and when you pluck, you're going to hammer on the D string with your 3rd finger to the 9th fret 4 times. So, here it comes. Okay, again, some really nice ideas in here, using double stops and hammer-ons and pull-offs together, really cool. So try building that up and we'll move on. So after that, we're going to do the same run as the start, except this time it's all double stops. So, very strange, but it kind of gives it the same sound as before, but much thicker and chunkier. Again, it's not easy, so first finger is going to be on the 7th frets of the A and the D string, and then 3rd finger to the 9th frets of those strings, and then first finger back to the 7th fret of the D and the G string, and then 3rd finger to the 9th fret of those, and then first finger back to the 7th of the G and the B. So, and then we've got 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the B string, and 3rd finger on the 9th fret. So we've gone in from double stops to the interval of thirds. So slowly, and then you slide that last bit up so that the same fingers are now on the 11th and the 10th. Really quite a tricky passage so far. But a really cool idea, thickening up the good old pentatonic that we all know and love with the same notes that are on either side of the note that you're playing. And you harmonize it as well. It's really cool. So once you've gone to there, which is the first third interval of the 9th fret of the G string and the 8th fret of the B string, you're going to play it and slide that up 2 frets. Then you're going to hit the B string, that note, then slide from the 11th fret, 3rd finger, down to the 9th fret, play the 7th fret, play the 9th fret, and then pull off. So, and then slowly, so it's two pull-offs actually, repeat yourself. So up until this point, so we've got to here, and then we're going to jump to the 10th fret of the B string. Sorry, that was a little habit I have of putting that slide in. He doesn't do that in the solo, it's just again another hammer on, first finger to the 3rd finger, 10th fret to the 12th fret of the B string. So there's like a common kind of rhythm coming in here. It's quite a nicely structured solo actually, because it's focusing on 1 or 2 ideas, and then it's using question and answer phrases to fill it out rather than just repeating itself, changing it slightly to make it quite interesting. So we've got, that's where we ended up. And don't forget, put in as much vibrato here as you can. These notes are just begging for some vibrato to give them that life, that extra bit of character. So after that, we've got 12th fret bent up to the 14th on the E string. And it's up and quite sharply off. Up and then mute. Then to the 10th fret of the E string, which is the note D. And again, the bend. So again, nice short and sharp, before coming back to more double stops. First finger across the 10th of the B and the E string, and It's going to be that pull off sound again like you did up here. So you're just doing the same thing up the octave. Playing both the B and the E string with your pick and hammering on to the 12th fret of the B string with the third finger. So that section. And then hammer on again. Then we're going to do another hammer on. So that one is first finger on the G string, 9th fret, second finger on the B string, 10th fret, and hammering on to the G string, 11th fret with your third finger. So try that. Not easy again. He's liking his pull-offs and his harmonies. And you got to keep all those notes ringing out. Every note that you've played is going to ring across those double stop notes. And then you slide it down from your finger. So hammer on, pull off, slide. Before second finger on the 9th fret, sliding up to the, third finger on the 9th fret, sliding up to the 11th fret, and then second finger on the 10th fret of the B string. There's a lot going on here. So let's just recap it back to the start so you can get the phrasing. Okay, and then the very last bit is going to be that interval of thirds again. So starting third finger on the 12th fret of the B string, first finger on the 10th fret of the high E string. We've got 1, 2, 3, then moving it down, second finger on the 10th fret of the B string, first finger on the 9th fret of the E string, same rhythm again. Moving that same shape down 2 frets, so now we're on the 8th and the 7th. And then moving down third finger on the 7th fret of the B string and first finger's on the 5th fret of the E string. 3 again, so. Quite cool, sounds a bit Rugratsy actually. Again, more harmonies. So really, it is quite an intricate solo actually, for how rough and ready it sounds on the track. So all of that together then. And then it goes back into the chorus, which is the same as the verse. Okay guys, wow, that was a mouthful. I'm sure there was a lot to take in, specifically on the solo. I bet you didn't think it could be that complicated, an Ed Sheeran song, but there you go. That's been it from me. I'm Thomas. This has been another guitar lesson from Your Guitar Academy. Stay tuned for plenty more content.